The village of Willowbrook was a patchwork of green fields and gentle rolling hills, a place where the air smelled of wild thyme and the sound of the river was a constant, soothing song. The cottages were built of warm, honey-colored stone with roofs of mossy thatch, and smoke curled from their chimneys like lazy whispers into the sky. Among them, one home was particularly special. It was built from smooth gray river stones, each one worn round by the water's patient hands. Its doorways were a little lower than the others, and its windows were placed not to look out upon the street, but to perfectly frame the vast, ever-changing canvas of the sky above the hills. This was the home of Kalin and Lyra. They were a dwarf couple, their stature small, but their presence in Willowbrook immense. They were different, yes, but they carried not a single ounce of bitterness in their hearts. To the village children, their cottage was a treasure chest of wonders. They would gather on the woven rug by the hearth, wide-eyed, as Kalin told stories of clever foxes and ancient mountain kings, his voice a low, rumbling melody. They would beg Lyra for a taste of her sun-warmed blackberries or a drop of her magical lavender oil for a scraped knee. Travelers passing through on the old stone road always stopped at their gate. They would leave with small jars of Lyra's golden honey, which tasted like 1,000 summer flowers, and tiny wooden charms carved by Kalin's skilled hands, a little bird, a sleeping fox, a twist of leaves that seemed to carry a piece of the couple's quiet peace in their pockets. If a shutter hung loose on a neighbor's house, Kalin was there with his tools and a joke before the day was out. If a heart was heavy with sadness or worry, Lyra would arrive with a warm loaf of bread and a listening ear that never judged. No one in living memory had ever heard them complain. Theirs was a life that seemed to hum with a secret, joyful tune. Their son Elian was born just like them, short in stature, but with a spirit as wide and curious as the horizon his parents' windows so loved to capture. As a young boy, he would play in the wildflower fields, his laughter echoing his mother's. But as Elian grew, a quietness settled over him. The world outside his warm, low-roofed home began to feel different, sharper. At 10 years old, he started making excuses to avoid playing tag with the other children, whose long legs carried them effortlessly across the meadow. At 12, he began to avoid the reflection in the still water of the rain barrel, where he saw a shape that didn't match the tall, straight trees he admired. And then, one afternoon when he was 13, the words he had been holding back for years finally tumbled out. He was watching his father in his workshop, where the scent of cedarwood filled the air. Kalin was focused, his strong hands guiding a chisel to release a hidden sparrow from a block of pine. The sight of his father's contentment, so at odds with the turmoil in his own heart, broke the dam. "Why did the world make us like this?" Elian asked. His voice was soft, but the question landed in the quiet room with the weight of a mountain. The gentle scraping of the chisel stopped. The question hung in the air, not angry, but heavy and thick like fog. Kalin carefully set his tool down on the bench. Lyra, who had been weaving a basket by the window, wiped her hands on her flour-dusted apron and came to sit beside her son on the rough-hewn bench. "Come," Kalin said, his voice calm and deep. "The workshop is too small for such a big question. Walk with me." They strolled together through their small, vibrant garden. The leaves of the old fig tree whispered secrets above them as the sun began its slow descent behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Elian kicked a pebble along the path, watching it skitter ahead. "Everyone else can reach the high shelves in the market without a stool. Their legs are longer. They can run faster in the fields. Sometimes people from other villages stare, and sometimes they laugh." Kalin bent down, his movement steady and sure, and picked up the very pebble Elian had kicked. He held it in his palm, a simple, gray, unremarkable stone. "Do you see this, Elian?" Kalin asked. Elian nodded, a little confused. "It's a pebble." "Would you complain that it is not a glittering piece of gold, or that it is not a bright shining star in the sky?" "No," Elian said, frowning. "It's just a stone." "But it is not just anything," his father replied, closing his fingers around it. "It is strong. It is patient. Thousands of pebbles just like this one line the riverbed, guiding the water. They hold the earth together on the hillside so the trees can grow tall. Not everything needs to be tall to be strong, Elian. Not everything needs to shine to matter." Lyra joined them then, placing a single perfect bluebell behind her son's ear. Her touch was gentle. "Did you know," she began, her voice like the hum of bees, "that old man Hemlock, the barber, was once offered a job in the great city of Silver Peak? It was a grand position in a grand shop, with mirrors that reached the ceiling and chairs of polished chrome. They offered him bags of silver coins." Elian looked up, surprised. Old man Hemlock with his simple two-chair shop and his stories about fish that got away? He said no. He said no, Kalen confirmed, a smile in his voice. He pointed back towards their Riverstone cottage where the light from the windows was beginning to glow warmly in the twilight. "Here, I get to carve spoons that will stir stew for families I know and love. Here, your mother grows herbs that heal our friends and berries that sweeten their days. We grow lemons and laughter in this soil. Why would I go somewhere else just to stretch my height a little when the joy I feel right here already feels it's so big it reaches the sky?" Lyra took Elian's hand in hers. Her fingers were warm and capable. "Some people spend their whole lives waiting, my love," she said softly. "They wait to be taller or richer or more noticed by important people. And while they are so busy waiting for the next thing and the next, they become blind to the wonderful blessings that are already sitting at their own table, waiting to be seen." She gestured around them, to the garden bursting with life, to the cottage that was filled with love, to the village that respected them so deeply. "Our roof may be low, Alien, but never forget that the entire sky lives within these walls." Elian looked up. The first stars were beginning to blink alive in the deep violet sky, one by one, as if her mother's words were lighting them. He thought not of the shelves he couldn't reach, but of the children who ran to his mother for her healing balms. He thought not of the speed of other runners, but of the travelers who sought out his father's carvings, believing them to be lucky. He thought not of the stares of strangers, but of the neighbors who knocked on their low door just to share a piece of good news, knowing Kalen and Lyra would share their genuine joy. He thought of the sound of his father's laughter, the smell of his mother's honey cakes, the shade of the fig tree, the feeling of being utterly and completely safe. He understood, in a way that settled deep into his bones, that the most immense beauty is often carried in the smallest, simplest things. That night, Elian did not lie awake wondering how he could become taller. Instead, he fell asleep dreaming of how he could learn to carve wood like his father, how he could learn the secrets of the bees like his mother, and how he could one day become more like them, people whose joy was so vast it needed no extra height at all. The secret wasn't a secret at all. It was a choice to see the beauty not beyond your reach, but within your grasp. It was gratitude not for a perfect life, but for the perfect moments that are already here, waiting in the quiet, simple, and wonderful life we already have.